Well, having convinced poor Jeff Flake to order a week-long FBI investigation of Judge Brett Kavanaugh, that happened after someone screamed at him in an elevator, which is how our democracy works now. Democrats are now trying to dictate the scope of the investigation as if they're in charge of Congress, which, thanks to Jeff Flake, functionally they are. In a letter released today, 10 Democrats in the Senate Judiciary Committee have called for the Bureau to investigate all 3 allegations against Kavanaugh, including Julie Swetnick's fantasy about gang rape. Their letter also lists 24 people they would like interviewed at a bare minimum about their allegations. Jonathan Turley is a professor at Georgetown University Law School, and he joins us tonight. Professor, thanks for coming on. So are we right to feel a little bit misled when Democrats in public told us just on Friday, it's now Monday, so it's 3 days later, that they wanted just Christine Ford's allegations investigated for a week, and now the goalposts are so far down the field we can't see them? Should we feel like we've been lied to?
Well, I think that the least convincing part of the Democratic case is that this was not being manipulated in terms of its timing. I think most people believe that these allegations were held to the last minute, right before a vote, and I think there's some legitimate criticism for that. And also, I think one can anticipate that 1 week is not going to satisfy many of the critics. The fact is that most of these statements, if not all of them, were previously given to the committee. They're unlikely to change. And so the outcome of this investigation is unlikely to change many minds. And we're going to get to a point where we have to make a decision. If senators feel that the record is insufficient, they have a reason, I suppose, to vote on that basis. But to keep this open indefinitely is going to do, I think, an injustice to the nominee and to the process. So we have to come to some conclusion.
So Julie Swetnick's claims that there was a series of at least 10 gang rapes that took place in public of children sometime in the early 1980s outside Washington. No one's ever heard this before. It's never been alleged before. Do you think this rises to the level of credibility that would spur an FBI investigation almost 40 years later?
It sounds like the FBI is not going to investigate that allegation. Part of the concern for many people is that this is an extraordinary allegation with no one going to the police previously or any accounts being published as to what occurred. And for that reason, I think that the FBI is focusing on the earlier 2 allegations.
Huh. Do you expect that Republicans will be able to reassert control over this process, since I think they do run the United States Senate? Could they say, it's been enough time, Mark Judge has been interviewed again under oath, and we're done? Can they do that?
Of course they can, and it does appear that McConnell is going to push this through. He insists that there's going to be a vote this week. The timing is a little bit curious because the FBI was given a full week. That would end on Friday. Presumably a lot of material would be given to the Senate on Friday. So it's not quite clear how the logistics are going to happen for the FBI to be concluded on Friday, presumably, and also have the vote on Friday.
Okay. Professor Turley, thanks very much. It's great to talk to you.
Thank you. See you, Tucker.
Senator Tom Cotton is a Republican. He represents the state of Arkansas, and he joins us tonight. Senator, thanks very much for coming on, and I mean that because we've been trying to get any Republican from the U.S. Senate to come on and make the affirmative case for Judge Kavanaugh for 2 weeks now, and you're the only one who said yes. I'm watching on the other side an army of surrogates go out to call him a sex offender. Why are you the only Republican who's willing to come on TV to make the case for Kavanaugh?
Tucker, it is pretty one-sided down here. That army of surrogates needs to get a lot bigger if they're going to take me on, because it's very easy to defend Judge Kavanaugh. He has a stellar record on the bench. He has a long and distinguished history of public service, and he has undergone 6 background checks, Tucker. 6 background checks. And now somehow the FBI is supposed to turn up new information in just a few days to satisfy all the Democrats. Yet, as soon as we agreed to have a limited investigation by the FBI into current credible allegations, of which I would say there are none, but to humor them, to give them a few days, they immediately started moving the goalposts, saying that we have to interview 24 witnesses and has to take weeks and on and on and on. It's never going to end, Tucker. This is not about trying to get the facts or get the proof. It's about trying to stop Brett Kavanaugh from being confirmed to the Supreme Court. That all comes to an end this week, Tucker.
What I find so striking is that he's a sitting federal judge who's authored scores and scores of opinions, and yet we're not debating any of them. His judicial philosophy is not even up for debate. It's all about his high school yearbook. Does it strike you this conversation is unbecoming of a country as advanced as ours? It's just so stupefyingly dumb. Why?
It is pretty amusing to see Democratic senators poring over a high school yearbook as if it were the Da Vinci Code, Tucker,
Yeah.
and hypocritical of senators like Amy Klobuchar, who are condemning Brett Kavanaugh for uncorroborated allegations from 36 years ago. Yet Amy Klobuchar stands by Keith Ellison, who stands credibly accused of beating his ex-girlfriend just a few years ago with contemporaneous medical and police records. It just goes to show you that the Democrats are engaged in an orchestrated smear campaign to assassinate Brett Kavanaugh's character, because they'll stop at nothing to prevent him from getting on the Supreme Court.
Finally, a U.S. senator to make the case, and very ably made. Thank you very much, Senator. Good to see you.